So good. Ended up needing overtime after Chris Middleton beat the buzzer with it. That shot was insane. Insane.
Wow.
The Celtics ended up winning in overtime, though. They had the last word. Giannis Antetokounmpo fouling out in that overtime period, trying to rebound a missed free throw. After the game, Giannis, let's just say he disagreed with the call, but he did take responsibility for being in that situation by missing the free throw. Scotty, where are you on that call?
I thought it was a bad call. You know, I wish the official would have just let him play on. It could have turned out to be a jump ball, but as Giannis said, he should have made the foul shot. So,
but you're not going to make free throws sometimes.
Stuff happened. I mean, I felt like both players had the ball at the top, at their peaks, but as they came down with it, Rozier was able to, you know, sort of pull him into a foul situation. So,
well, one of the reasons why this was such a difficult call for the players and the team is because the one official and the most veteran official on the court, Mike Callahan, is calling jump ball, and the other official, Jason Phillips, comes in from behind the play and calls foul. I take a step back and say that earlier in the overtime, Giannis could have had his sixth foul for an over-the-back call that he ended up getting a jump ball on. So he may have gotten a 50-50 situation there. But to me, even though Giannis had a great game, he had 35 points and 13 rebounds, when this game went to overtime, I thought, here we have an opportunity. Giannis is the best player on the floor. Right. Take the game. By the way, he was to travel on that, too. But take the game. Take the game, Giannis. Be the best player. Take control of the game. And he wasn't able to do that. And I thought at this point in his career, this is where you could take it and have it happen. And so regardless of where that foul was, and I understand the Bucks fans are upset, I really wanted to see Giannis take control of the game at the end.
This to me just seemed like the classic example of let them play, right? Because this is not a case of where one player was going up for a shot and the other guy fouls him, and then you have to decide, was it enough of a foul, and should you throw that guy out of the game because he was limiting what the other guy could do. This is a scramble over a ball. I don't understand why you can't just make that a ball.
That's what we call the 50-50 ball.
Right?
And there you got two players that are both wanting the ball.
Right, which
and I got to say that was a split.
But I got to say, I really think because the previous over-the-back play that they get,
there's no make-up calls in the playoffs. You can do that in the regular season, but not in the playoffs.
Not in overtime of the playoffs, where you throw out the biggest star of the team.
I understand. I'm just saying that he probably got away with a walk and an over-the-back call earlier. So unfortunately, that's the way things go.
And but I'm not saying
a lot of players got away with some walking this week. So we ain't gonna go there.
I'm not saying this was a bad officiating call. It was a fine officiating call. I just would prefer the officials to take a step back in that situation at the end of an overtime playoff.
Yes, I felt like the officials should have came together, knowing the situation of the game, knowing the situation that the Bucks were in at that time. You got to give them a fair shake.
I want to talk about Rozier's go-ahead bucket in regulation. Is this great offense? Well, not maybe the best defense Eric Bledsoe's ever played in his life.
It was a terrible game by Eric Bledsoe just in general, to be honest with you. And he fouled out a little bit later than this. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a goalie in hockey or not hockey, but in soccer on a penalty kick, they just guessed wrong.
Right.
And there's nothing they can do about it. He guessed that Rozier was going to drive, even though Rozier's three-point percentage this year is the best of his career. He just guessed wrong, and that was it.
That was a great move by Rozier. I mean, we're seeing between him and Jaylen Brown two players that are really sort of pushing themselves to that star role now that they don't have Kyrie there. The opportunities are there for those two guys to lead, and that's why I say teams like this, they're very dangerous because you don't know who the most poisonous snake is out on the court.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, you know, Bledsoe is probably playing the percentages there that he's going to drive, and it didn't work out. If he had driven, Bledsoe might have been in great position, and he gets the shot contest, and we're sitting here saying, oh, my God, what great defense by Bledsoe.
By the way, the odds of Chris Middleton making the shot that he then went down on the other side and made, like, there's some number about, you know, shots over 35 feet at the end, buzzer beaters.
How about in less than a second?
Right. Nobody's made those. Nobody's made them, and he made one.
Which is why the Celtics needed to take that win. They had it given to them, and they just couldn't get it.
All right, let's move on to the West. Anthony Davis securing his first career playoff win. I have talked to him a bunch over the last few years. To say this means a lot to him is an understatement. He wanted this so bad. So, Brian, you were at the game. Were you more impressed by the Pelicans, or did you feel that this was on the Blazers?
Rachel, I had so much fun at this game. I actually think this is going to be a great series, 6 or 7 games. Drew Holiday was awesome the entire game. Made some terrific defensive plays down the stretch. Anthony Davis, talk about wanting it. He was on the floor 3 or 4 times during this game trying to get loose balls, and even the Blazers said we just couldn't get loose balls in this game. Rebounds are going to be so important in this series, and the Pelicans were able to do it. Yes, Lillard and McCollum had a bad first half. Terrible. They were 1 of 15, no question. But they had a good second half. And so I think while it was very disappointing for the Blazers, the way the last minute played out, because they didn't get the looks they wanted, I just think this is going to be the start of a tremendous series. And I had so much fun watching Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday play. And after the game, I talked to Anthony about getting this playoff first victory, and he was very excited to be able to get it.
And that building, by the way, in Portland.
And he wore a tremendous suit.
It was great.
He had a playoff suit on as well.
It would have been great if they could have, as you said, Lillard and McCollum could have played early in the first half, and the fans could have really got into the game. But they did a great job in the second half. But, boy, Anthony Davis, wow. I mean, you talk about his play, the play of Rondo.
Rondo was great.
It's just awesome to watch Rondo, how he rises come playoff time. He makes the right plays, but more so, like, he's the guy that wouldn't allow a guy like Karl Anthony Towns not to be involved in a game, especially his first game. He's the kind of guy that's going to make sure you get your touches and your opportunities, as you see what he did with
They call that
Davis.
playoff Rondo.
Playoff Rondo, man. I've seen it. That
also,
is
Nico Mirotic had a terrific game as well.
That's a great point about Rondo and sort of what he does to the other guys on the court. And I would like to ask you, as our defensive captain over here, what Drew Holiday has continued to do all season, I mean, especially in the playoffs.
He's amazing. I mean, he's a small guy, but he plays big defensively. He moves his feet. And when you got a guy like that, I mean, the whole team feeds off the way that he's playing. I mean, you look at the guys, how they're getting. You got 5 guys in there getting offensive rebound, Rondo getting long rebounds, and you set the tone like that. And when you got guys that are willing to set the tone defensively, you're going to get some roadkill. Yeah. That's what they got.
Nice.
Ooh, big. I want to move on to a non-playoff team because, producer Steve, it's time to talk about the Knicks. Past 5 seasons, yeah.
That's Mike asking for the job.
Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Knicks have centered in on 4 candidates for their head coach. David Fizdale, Mark Jackson, Jerry Stackhouse, former Cleveland Cavaliers coach David Blatt, and also have secured permission to interview Mike Woodson, their former coach. Scotty, who do you think is the best fit in New York?
You know, I'm not a big fan of recycle. I would love to see Stackhouse get an opportunity, but you know, there's some great candidates there. Don't get me wrong here. Mark Jackson, to Coach Tisdale. You know, I like them all, but I really like Jerry Stackhouse. I like his pattern as to, you know, his road and how he's trying to get there. So I think a guy like that deserves a chance. He's really been into the game. He loves coaching, and we've all seen how much he's bought into it and developing guys in the G League. So hopefully it's an opportunity for him to come soon.
I think our coworker here, David Fizdale, would be, I think the fans of New York would fall in love with him.
Well, yeah.
I think that would be a tremendous opportunity for him. And he's in demand. He's also involved in Charlotte now, David Fizdale.
David Fizdale is supposed to come work with me on Friday.
I'm not so sure he's going to make it.
He can't get any of these jobs before Friday.
David Blatt would be fascinating. I have been extraordinarily critical about David Blatt. I wrote a whole section in a book about David Blatt's failures in Cleveland, and I think he got an unfair shake. I think he would be a very interesting candidate. I don't know if he's meant to coach NBA players, but I'd like to see him get a more fair shake than he got in Cleveland.
But I think whoever goes to this team, they're going to have to be willing to take some losses. I mean, it's not like you're walking in a situation where you're going to change things up.
Good point.
Porzingis has to get healthy. He's your #1 guy. So you got to get that fixed, and also you got to get better players around him.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. First of all, absolutely, Porzingis is probably not going to be healthy till the middle of the season.
Wow.
I'm confused about the Mike Woodson thing. I know Scott Perry is new in that front office, but didn't Mike Woodson work for Steve Mills, who was still running things in the Knicks, and didn't he let him go? I mean, I know in New York there's a history of hiring and firing and rehiring and refiring with some of the sports teams there, but...
And Jeff Van Gundy, our Ian Begley reporting, Jeff Van Gundy is right now not a candidate. So that's surprising because, you know, Jeff wants to get back, and he would be an interesting choice, but it seems like that's not a fit right now.
I'm confused.
They should have left Woodson there to begin with.
Ooh, interesting. Maybe
he didn't really get a fair shot.
No, he didn't get a fair shot.
Maybe there's some remorse about that.
That's why they're reaching out again.
Coming up, when asked about Kawhi Leonard's health, Coach Popovich responded with, "You will have to ask Kawhi and his group that question." So we will get into all that. But first, here's a distant replay from this past Saturday, 2002. And we had to show it even though we're like a couple days late because, I mean, it happened over the weekend.
Do we have to show this?
We have to show this.
Come on.
Come on, come on.
Is that Scottie Pippen?
Oh, that would be Scottie Pippen.
What was that, a frisbee? Look at Rashid is loving this.
Right?
Rashid is loving this. Look at it. He's got a smile.
And then, of course,
okay, don't show the towels that got in my way.
Bennett Salvatore threw you right out of that game.
Oh, look at that. Foot one bobblehead. It's not really a bobblehead.
It's like a plush doll.
It's like a plushie.
I don't even know why I got ejected that game.
You don't know why you got ejected?
I got
that's a technical. How about just give me a technical?
Well, he didn't like what you looked at him, so he threw you.